Tawfiq from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum
Yes,
salam
sir.
tullah.
Yes, I'm talking.
Yes.
So, Sheikh, one of my aunt lives in a non-Muslim country and she asked for advice regarding her daughter. She's worried for the sanctity of her home because she found that her 19-year-old daughter has been engaging in acts of kufr relating to magic, black magic, such as worshipping idols and seeking their help in casting spells and curses. As a Muslim mother, she wants her daughter to follow Islam and move away from all of this. And so she wants to know how she should go about helping her daughter.
This is a problematic, akhi, because she lives in a kafir country, and this kafir country is on the edge. They're just waiting for you to slip and make a mistake where they can incriminate you, put you in jail, take the kid away from you, highlight you in the media of being fundamental terrorists, extremists who force their daughter on this and that. They have no problem if your daughter would go to a nightclub and have an orgy, that's fine. If she drinks, if she consumes drugs, that's fine. If she poses in nude clubs or nude websites and maybe strips in a striptease club, that's fine. But do not force them to do anything in according to your religion and belief. And you can't do anything. And this is one of the price. This is the price you have to pay for living in a kafir country. This is what's going to cost you. So you have no other choice but to try to reason with her, to speak with her and tell her this is shirk, this is kufr, and try to be diplomatic, try to be wise, try all means possible, bring people of knowledge to speak to her. And if she consistently insists on such kufr and blasphemous acts, then you have to maybe take drastic measures such as kicking her out of the house before she spoils the other children, and Allah knows best. Sam from Canada.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my question is, I think I know your stance already, but how do we explain law to people who don't know what law is? Like they just think Sharia is only Sharia, and if you do any other kind of law, it's either kufr or the person is a fasik or transgressor. So how do we explain, like, if someone is studying law in the Western society, that it's not like, he's not under those verses, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ or وَالْفَاسِقُونَ وَالظَّالِمُونَ. Like, how do we draw the line between if you're working in law, that you're not sinful, and then if you're doing law, that's where it's like the sin is there? Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. First of all, we have to explain to them that not all laws are prohibited. So, man-made laws that do not go against the Sharia, such as traffic laws, such as laws governing how we garden our gardens and how to farm and how to do this. These are laws made by the authorities to govern people's lives and to facilitate a better life and more organized. Now, the laws that are haram, that contradicts and goes against Islam. So someone says, if a person murders another person, we have to throw him in jail. But this is not Allah's law. A murderer who murders another intentionally his fate has to be in the hands of the relatives of the victim. And they may decide execution, a soul for a soul, or blood money, or to forgive. But it's not for anyone else to say, no, we're not going to execute, we're not going to take blood money, we're just going to throw him in jail for 25 years. That's not permissible. And anyone who does this falls into the danger of committing kufr. Legislating laws that are contradictory to Islam, conflicting with Islam. If a person who legislates them thinks that they are superior than Islam or equal to Islam, he's a kafir on the spot, because of the verses you've mentioned in chapter 5, verse 44, 45, and 47. But if he thinks that, no, the superiority is to Islam and nothing is close to Islam, and these laws that I've legislated are far below, but because I need the raise, I need to be promoted to the Secretary of DOJ, for example, or this or that. Okay, he's doing it for the sake of dunya. Then he's not a kafir, but he's in great danger. And by this, inshallah, you may be able to explain things to them, and Allah knows best. Rehan from Bahrain.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Sheikh, my question is, like, I heard from hadith that it says Prophet ﷺ used to fast the first Monday and followed by next 2 Thursdays. So can I fast every Monday and Thursday, or should I just follow what prophets used to do?
I do not know of such a hadith personally, but I know that the Prophet ﷺ used to fast every Monday. And when he was asked, why do you fast Mondays? He said, this is a day I was born in, and I was revealed, the Quran was revealed to me on it. I was made a prophet on that day, on Mondays. So the Prophet used to fast every Monday and every Thursday, as narrated in other hadiths. And he clarified that these are 2 blessed days where the deeds are displayed to Allah. So he would like his deeds to be displayed while being in the state of fasting. So yes, righteous people that I know fast every Thursday and every Monday like clockwork.